Hello, welcome back everyone. My name is Seth and today we're going to be working on part 12, how to make a Discord bot. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how we can save all of our data online instead of locally in JSON files. The two main reasons for doing this is, one, it's much more secure, and two, there's less of a chance of your data corrupting. Most of you have probably never had issues with your JSON files corrupting. However, when you're sending data to a single file too often or too much at once, it can cause your data to corrupt. Therefore, you would lose everything and not be able to get it back. And that's really annoying, especially when your users work so hard to collect all that digital currency or whatever. So this episode, we're going to be working on saving all of their money online in a database. And it's completely free, so you don't have to worry about paying anything. And yeah, so let's get into this video. Check this. Lastly, before we get started, make sure to smash that like button down below if you enjoy, and subscribe for future bot tutorials. Also, don't be afraid to leave comments, as I love hearing from you guys, and if you have questions about the code, I would love to help. The first step to saving our data online is creating a Mongodb account. We can do this at mongodb.com. Once you're there, you can go ahead and sign up with an email address and password. Once you've created an account, we need to set a database user. We can do that at database access right here. Go ahead and click add new database user, and now we can enter a username and password. Make sure it's on read and write to any database, and then click add user. Now that we've created a user, we can head on over to clusters, click build a cluster, and now make sure you select the shared clusters as it is the only free one, so click create a cluster. Here we want to choose AWS, pick your server for your location, and then come down here and give it a name, and click create a cluster. This takes about 1 to 3 minutes to load, so go ahead and just let that process. So our database finally finished loading. This is done for the most part. Now we can head on over to our code in Visual Studio Code, so let's go ahead and do that. So currently my bot is online, but we need to install a new package. We're going to install Mongoose. It's what allows us to access our database. So we can go ahead and press Control-C to turn our bot offline. We can then do npm install Mongoose. Now, obviously, because we're going to be accessing the database for any time we need to use our money, we need to be able to actually change a couple different commands. We're going to change our balance command. We're going to change our admin pay command. We're going to change the daily, the gamble, and also the pay. So there's quite a few commands we need to change this in. We're going to start with balance, though, just because that's the most basic command we have that uses our money system. So to do this, we need to go ahead and add the Mongoose package. Once we have that, we also actually need to be able to access our bot config file. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. Next up, we're going to need to connect to our database. So let's go ahead and just give ourselves a comment right here, connect to database. And here we're going to go mongoose.connect. And we're going to put in here botconfig.m. Actually, we're going to call this Mongo pass. And we're going to do this. So use new URL parser, and we're going to set that to true. Below that, we actually need to access our model that we didn't actually create yet. So let's go ahead and call this models, and constant data equals require. Now that we have that, we actually need to go to our bot config, and here we're going to add a comma, And we're going to create a new one in here. We're going to call it Mongo Pass. So the one that we called in our code a second ago. And we're going to set this to our database like token, almost like a token for our database. So we're going to go ahead and save this and head back over to our browser. We are then going to click Connect. We're going to click on Connect Your Application. Make sure we are on Node.js and 2.2.12 or later. The other one I was having issues with, so we're going to use this one. Go ahead and copy this. Then head back to our code, paste it in here, and then go ahead and replace your password with whatever you put for your password for your user account on MongoDB. So now this should connect to our database, but we need to actually create a new folder and call it models. In here, we're going to create a new file and call it data.js. So now in here, we actually need to make a schema. We're going to go ahead and grab Mongoose. Next up, we're going to create our actual schema. So data schema equals mongoose.schema. And then we're going to go ahead and give it a name. That is a string. User ID, that is a, nope, that's also going to be a string. We're going to give it a leaderboard, which is a string. And then we're also going to give it money, which is a number, and daily, which is a number. And then we can head down here and do module.exports equals mongoose.model data and data schema. This file is done, so you can go ahead and hit save and leave that alone for now. Now that we've connected to our database, all that's left is to rearrange our code so that it saves data to our new database and doesn't do anything with our old one anymore. So we can still use this block of code here to check who the user is, whether it's the author of the message or if we're trying to get the money account of someone else. So we're going to go right below that and do data.find1. Make sure you capitalize the O. We're going to go ahead and do regular brackets, curly brackets, and in here we're going to do user ID should equal user.id. So we're going to grab that user's account, and if we let's go in. Can my scroll button work, please? There we go. In here we want a comma, and we're going to do error and data. And then after this, in between these two brackets, we're going to do a arrow function, curly brackets, enter down, and we're going to check for error. If it's an error, we're going to console.log error. And then we can go ahead and check if data exists. So if data does not exist, we want to create data for them. So we're going to create data in our new database. So const new data equals new data. Make sure you put a space in that second one. Brackets, curly brackets, enter. And in here, we're going to go ahead and do name, bot.users.get. And actually, with the new Discord update in the previous episode, I showed you guys that it needs to be bot.users.cache.get. And we're going to get user.id, and then after this we're going to do .username, so we can grab their username. We're going to comma and go ahead and do user ID, and we're going to grab user.id, and then we want to set them to a leaderboard called all. This will be used in a future episode. I'm not going to explain too much about it right now. We're going to do money. We're going to set it to 0 here. And then also we're going to do daily, and we're going to set that to 0 as well. So that is complete there. We then need to actually save this data just like we do with our FS, but we no longer need FS. So we're going to do new data dot save, and we're going to do dot catch error arrow function console dot log error, and then we're going to go ahead and end that off, and we're going to do return message dot channel dot send, and we are just going to do, actually I think we can do this one right here. We're going to go ahead and copy this and replace this. I'm going to do bot.users.get user.id.username has $0 because here we just made them an account, so they have no money yet. However, actually no, we need to create an else statement right here. Let's go ahead. So this would be if they do have a data account already. All we need to do is return their amount. So we're going to do this, but instead of 0, we're going to go ahead and put a $ in curly brackets so we can put a variable in here. And we're going to do data. So we're going to grab this this data variable, which is accessing this user. And so data is just kind of the keyword we use to grab it. And then we want to grab a specific variable in that data account, and we want to grab .money. So this should bring back their money then, their account. So we can go ahead and actually delete all of this as well as this. And that's it for this command. So the balance command should be done. So to test this out, we can go ahead and run our bot. Let's do node dot, and we got an error. So this is actually expected because my code previously was old. So all we need to do is go here, and we're going to go use unified topology, and we're going to set that to true. And this is really simple to figure out, guys. I just looked at my error code, and just from previous experiences, I know what I needed to do. So make sure you guys are looking at your error codes if you get one. They're super important and often have the fix to your problem right there for you. So yeah, let's go ahead and throw that in there and then shut our bot off and redo it. So our bot is now online and working correctly, it says. So if we go ahead and head on over to Discord and we try to grab our balance, it should give us, and I guess it's going to give us an error. Yep, we got an error. So bot.users.get is not a function. See, oh, so I never changed this one. So we're going to do .cache. Make sure you're changing all of those to .cache now with the new 12.0 update. And bot.users.cache here and here. It'll probably take me forever to learn that I need to put that in there. So let's go ahead and save that and then rerun our bot. There we go. Let's open up Discord. Go ahead and check our balance. Should tell us we have 0, so that's good. That means our new account is working. We didn't transfer any of our old money over, and I will be showing you guys how to do that in a future video. Stay tuned for that. Now, if we head on over to our actual database, we can click collections. In here, you'll see we have our datas collection, and you'll see it actually has mine in here because we checked our balance and it created one for us. So in here, we can actually edit the data and change any of these values we want. So if we wanted to like give someone a bunch of money, we can do it from directly in here. So if I do that and then click update, then head on back over to Discord and check our balance, we now have $100,000. So that's how you can edit money directly in your database. You can do that. There's no problems with that. But next, essentially, we just need to convert all of our commands over from the old database to the new one. And that's a bit of a process, but I'm going to do it as quickly as I can so I can keep this video as short as possible for you guys. Okay, moving on to our daily command, we need to make sure we add mongoose in here. So let's go ahead and do mongoose equals require and mongoose. And then also we can actually go ahead and copy a ton of this stuff over as it doesn't really change. So let's go ahead and just enter down and paste this in here. Luckily the daily command isn't too difficult, so we need to go in here and do data.find1. We're going to grab our user ID as user.id. Actually, I think we used message.author. So in here, we're not actually going to do that. We're going to do message.author.id. And the reason for this is because we didn't actually create a user variable in this command. We just used message.author.id. So we're going to do that. And then here we can go ahead and add error and data with an arrow function, curly brackets, enter. And then again, we need to check for an error. And actually, we can go ahead and copy this all in. So let's go check error. Yeah, so we can go ahead and copy this whole block. Let's do that. And paste it in. So let's just double check everything. If data does not exist, constant new data equals new data name. And here we actually just need to do message.author.username. And here we just need to do message.author.id, leaderboard all, money 0, daily 0, return message.channel.send. Here we can do message.author.username has $0, message.channel.send bot.users. Okay, let's get rid of that and do message.author.username has data.money. So actually this is our daily command. So we're going to be creating, if we're creating an account, we can actually give them their reward right away. So we can actually put daily, we can set that to date.now like we did down here. And we can set money to reward. And we saved our reward up here. So our reward's 100. So we can give them the reward right away when we create their account. We can set their daily right away to date.now. And we can also set this to, let's create this as a variable and do a reward. So then it says basically 100 in case you were to change this. It's good to use variables so that you don't have to change the numbers throughout your code 100 times. Please use variables, very important in programming. And so that's good like that. That's good like that. Well, yeah, so this is good. And then if data does exist, we need to, well, actually, if data does exist already, then we can actually get rid of this, but I'm just going to comment it out for now. So after looking over the code, we're going to go ahead and create an if statement with timeout minus date.now in a parentheses minus cooldowns. And actually, this is the part we're going to replace. We're going to do data.daily. And then we can go ahead and create an if block here. And let's scroll down and find out what it wants us to do next. So I got that from right here. We need to set the time. Copy. And paste. And actually, we can actually grab this whole piece. Where is that? Right here. Lost my spot. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to set time, which is, get rid of that, and we're going to do data.daily. Let's actually rework this to not use an embed, because there's a new change to embeds that I don't really want to get into right now. So let's do this instead. Let's do return message.channel.send, or let's do return message.reply. So it's going to give them a name. It's going to ping them. And we're going to do, you already collected your daily reward. Paste. And then we're going to do collect again in this, copy, paste, except we're going to get rid of these two. I don't know why those are there. And then we can get rid of this entire embed, save that, create an else block here, scroll our way back down, and we're going to copy all this just so I can look at it. We're going to delete this and paste this in here. Here we can go ahead and do data dot money plus equals rewards. So this will add the money to our account, and then we can actually do data and grab this dot save function and paste it right on the end of data, and that's how we can then save our data. And then we also need to do cooldowns, so we're going to do data dot daily, and we're going to set that to date dot now. Keep in mind that when we set our daily, we want to set it equal to, and when we do our money, we want to add onto this. So that would be a plus equals. So let's go do that, and then we can do, actually we can get rid of this and put it below both of them, just like this. Get rid of this fs save function, and then we can also do the same thing as, let's just return a message, return message dot reply. You received, and let's do reward. And actually I'm going to replace these with this so we can use variables. You received reward 100, received $100 as your daily reward, or you received a reward of $100. There we go. Let's do that instead. Okay, so we can actually get rid of this. I thought we would need that. And then I think we're done with everything else. We can actually get rid of embed here. That's not doing anything. Cooldowns is no longer doing anything. You can get rid of that. We can get rid of money. We can get rid of FS and Discord. So really you only need MS. What did we use MS for? Oh, our time. So we need MS, Mongoose. If we go ahead and open our terminal, run this and do dot, we have an issue. What's our issue? I bet you it's something to do with .cache, isn't it? Oh, no, bot config is not defined. Oh, that's because we need to add const bot config equals require dot bot config dot JSON. We need that to access our database right there. So let's go ahead and run this one more time. We have another issue. Bot config is not defined. Oh, bot config. Gotta watch them typos, guys. This is actual coding, guys. This is what happens when you don't edit everything out. So I apologize. You're gonna get some errors. If you need help, please leave a comment down below. I'm glad to help anyone who needs it. So yeah, so our bot is actually online now. So let's go ahead and open our Discord. Check our balance first, and we have about 100,000. If we go ahead and grab our daily, you received $100 as a reward, so we should have 100,000 and $100. So if we check our balance, we now have 100,000 and $100. So the balance is working, the daily is working. Next we're moving on to either gamble or pay. Let's see what we got here. So let's go ahead and do our gamble command next. And this shouldn't be too difficult. Let's go ahead and get rid of Discord because it looks like we're not even using it. We can get rid of FS and money. We can go ahead and add, actually, let's just go ahead and copy and paste a bunch of this stuff. Let's copy all of this. Actually, we don't need MS. Let's copy all of this for gamble, paste it in. So now we've got our model, our database, and our two packages, or our package and our file. So here we need to go ahead and access data.find1, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of this over again. I'm just going to copy the whole block. You can go ahead and do that, and we're going to paste it right here, except we're going to go ahead and get rid of everything except the if error. So we want message.authorID like the last one, and we're going to check if data does not exist. So this means if it can't find data for the user, we're going to go ahead and create them some data. And actually we can keep this part of it because that should not change, or well, for the most part. So let's paste it in there. This is going to stay the same. Message.author.username, message.author.id stays the same. Leaderboard stays the same. Reward, however, does not stay the same. We're going to hit 0. We're going to go ahead and do daily is going to equal 0, and then we can save it. And then after this, because they have no money, they can't actually gamble anything if they have no money. So we're going to do message.reply and say, sorry, you don't have any money to gamble with. Use the daily command. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And then it's super simple. Let's just go ahead and do an else statement for if they do have data command, which means they do have money. And now comes this part. So we can go ahead and copy all of this. Let's cut it out and paste it into our else statement. Did that really not push any of it over? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go ahead and highlight everything. Yeah, let's pay. Let's do that, and this goes here. Okay. So else statement. Variable max bet equals 10,000, so they can bet a maximum of 10,000. Essentially, we need to check if data.money doesn't exist, which we already did actually up here. So the other thing we need to do is check if data.money is less than or equal to 0. If it does, you don't have any money. And then here, if arg0 does not exist, please specify a bet. And then here, if arg0.toLowercase equals all, we're going to make arg0 equal data.money. Didn't we check if bet does not equal math.floor bet, you can return message.reply. You can only enter whole numbers. If data.money is less than bet, you don't have that much money. Didn't we already do that? No, if it's less than 0. If it equals lose, we're going to data.money minus equals bet, and we're going to do data.save. We're going to grab the save function right here, and then we're going to do return message.reply. You lose, new balance is data.money. And then here we're going to do data.money plus equals bet, and we're going to do the same thing with this. Paste, return message.reply, you win, new balance is data.money. So that is the entirety of the gamble command. Good news is once we do the pay command, the admin pay command won't be too hard, and that's all we have left. So here we can go ahead and get rid of FS and money. We can go ahead and add all of this stuff at the top. Paste, save, and in here we want to check user And then after user, we're going to do data.find1 and curly brackets. And we're going to do user ID is going to equal user.id. And then here we're going to go comma, error, data. Actually, we're going to go user data, because we're going to have two different data variables in this. So we're going to go arrow function, curly brackets, enter. We're going to check for error. And if we do have an error, we're going to go console.log error. This makes our life easier when trying to figure out why our code isn't working. And then we're going to check if user data does not exist. Actually, we got to make sure we check if it doesn't exist. Then we want to run something. Otherwise, we want an else statement. Okay, like that. And if user data does not exist, actually, this is, okay, we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to do message.author.id. We're going to do the author one first. So we're going to do author data and author data. So user ID is message.author.id, and that's fine. If author data does not exist, obviously we cannot pay someone. So we just can make our life really easy and do message.reply and say, you don't have any money to send. And then we can end that off, and this whole block is done. So that makes our life much simpler. In here, however, we need to create a new data.find1. Regular brackets, curly brackets. We're going to do user ID is going to equal user.id. So now we're going to grab the user that we want to pay. In here, we're going to go ahead and do error to find our error and our user data. And then arrow function, curly brackets, if error, we're going to log it. And then console.log error. So then next we can do if user data does not exist. We can do that here. Else we can do that here. So if args1 does not exist, please specify the amount you want to pay. So let's go ahead and actually just if money. So if user data doesn't exist, paste. We're going to throw this above this. And so if args1 does not exist, we're going to please specify the amount you want to pay. If money, so if we don't need this because we're already going to check for that. If user.id equals message.author.id, actually we can check this way sooner. We can get rid of this from here and paste it up at the top. So if user.id equals message.author.id, we can say you cannot pay yourself. If parse integer args1 is greater than author data.money, author data.money, then we can say you do not have that much money. If parse integer args1 is less than 1, you can say you cannot pay less than 1. Okay, so essentially if we got to this point, they had enough money to pay, so we can cut all of this out. We can paste it in here, and we can say if user data doesn't exist, we can do we can create a new account for them. So let's go ahead and copy this whole chunk here in our data gamble command. Take a look at that real quick and head on over to pay, and we can get rid of this. We can do constant data, new data equals new data. And wait, yeah, And then we're going to do bot.users.cache.get. And we're going to do user.id.username. And here we can do user.id. All money can be set to parse integer args1. Daily can be set to 0. And then we can save that. But before we save that, we want to do wait a minute. Yeah, so that's right. Before we want to save that, though, we need to do author data. So this is the person sending the money. Author data dot money minus equals parse integer args1, paste, and then we can save it. So then we can get rid of both of these. We can do user data dot money plus equals parse integer args1. The same thing down here. Author data dot money minus equals parse integer, and then we want to do paste, and we want to do user data dot save and author data dot save. And then we also need to do this one here as well. So this would save this. This gets saved by this. So then, yeah, and then this will get saved here, and this will get saved here. Okay, there we go. Last but not least, I think we need to, we need a message. So we can use this message, cut, and we need to send one here and here, or we can actually just send it right here. And return message.channel.send, message.author.username, paid args1 to bot.users.get, user.id.username. So if we go ahead and save that, we can go ahead and do no dot. Okay, it worked. Let's go ahead and head on over to Discord. And now if I go ahead and pay at Queen Ruby, one thing you need to know is that Queen Ruby does not have an account yet on this new database. So if I go ahead and pay, or well, actually I can check her balance. So if I do at balance Queen Ruby, it will tell me she has 0. It took a second there because I had to create her an account and my internet's probably being slow. Now we go ahead and pay at Queen Ruby. And if we do 1,000, it should say, are we having an error? I think we might have an error, guys. Yes, we do. Bot.users.get. Of course, that gets me every time. Bot.users.cache. If you notice I do that, just make sure you go ahead and put cache in there. I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and do no dot. Head back to Discord. Do pay at Queen Ruby 1,000. So now it's going to not work again because we have another bot.users.get. Am I blind or? Oh, here we go. Bot.users.cache. Back to Discord. Try this again. Queen Ruby. Errors are just a part of coding. And we get Sethi paid 1,000 to Queen Ruby. Now, if we go ahead and check at Queen Ruby's balance, you'll see she has 1,000. And if we check my balance, we'll see that I have 1,000 less. So the pay command is now done. Let's head back to our code. And we've only got one more, the admin pay command. Let's go ahead and get rid of these two. And because this is an admin pay command that we just pay people, we can actually go ahead and copy everything in this file, transfer it over to the admin pay. We can then do admin pay, and I like to do AP for short, admin pay. And if we go to the top, we can start here. We don't need this line because sometimes we want to pay ourselves for testing purposes. We're going to do message.author.id. If we don't actually need a main account, so we can go ahead and copy this second one and copy. Wait. Oh, not enough. Let's go ahead all the way down to here and delete that. Delete this. Paste it in. So now we just have this single data.find one. We're going to check for user.id. Check that. If args1 doesn't exist, please specify the amount you want to pay. We're going to check if it args1 is greater than author data.money. We don't need that because we're not taking any money away from the payer because they have unlimited. If parse integer args1 is less than 1, we don't need that because sometimes we like to give negatives for say someone finds a glitch in our bot and they end up getting like $3 quadrillion or whatever. We want to be able to take it away from them, in which case we want to be able to use negatives. If user data does not exist, we're going to create it. I'm going to give them the amount. I'm going to set their username and everything else. We're going to set author data to not subtract anything. We are going to save their data. We are going to not subtract anything here, not save it. We're just going to give them and save theirs. Then we're going to return message.author.username. Admin paid that much money to that user. So that is everything. Let's go ahead and shut our bot off and do no dot. She's online, so let's go ahead and do Discord. Let's do admin pay. Do admin pay at Queen Ruby. And if we do let's do 1 2 3 1 2 3. We'll see that Queen Ruby now got $1 million. So if we check balance at Queen Ruby, she should have 1,001,000. So and obviously if we check my balance, I never had $1 million, so it's all working correctly. But if we try to pay them admin pay at Queen Ruby F, oh, that's not good. Okay, so that creates a little bit of an issue. It's a good thing I checked that. If args1, so we can actually do if args1 does not equal math.floor args1, then we know it's a number, and we can do return message.reply. Please enter only whole numbers. Just like that. So let's go ahead and copy that. We're going to do it right below our parsed. I know. Yeah. So we're going to do paste there. Oh, we got a little backslash here. I apologize everyone if I don't sound as energetic as the beginning of this video. It's been a long process. Okay, so our bot's online. Let's check Discord and do pay at Queen Ruby F. And it should tell us please enter only whole numbers. So if we go ahead and back to it, look at our database and refresh this page, you'll see that Queen Ruby's account is now in here, and she has her $1 million $1,001,000. And you'll actually see that our daily command is being used. So this gives us the opportunity to actually test our daily command. Let me head back over here and do daily again. You'll see that it says you already collected your daily reward. Collect again in 23 hours, 30 minutes, and 17 seconds. So that works good. And I think that is everything for this video. That was a very long process. I really wanted to do my best to explain everything to you guys and make sure that you can follow along flawlessly, so that it didn't give you too many really stupid errors and stuff that you guys have had in past videos. I am very tired. It's late at night. And yeah, so if this video helped you, please leave a like down below. I appreciate that so much. If you need help, please leave a comment in the comment section and I will get back to you when I can. And thanks for watching, guys.